Okay, so today we're going to be working on section 9.4 for finite math. We're going to be doing arithmetic mean, and we're also going to be finding the median of group data, and the mean will be for group data as well. So looking at just this first part up here, this first definition box, arithmetic mean or just mean, we all have done this for years, where you just add up the number of terms that you have and divide by the number that's in the set. So that's all we're talking about when we have mean. The thing of it is, though, whenever we do group data, it's always a little bit different. So this first example might be a little bit confusing because we're going to already have it's already done for you, but I want to show you how you can speed things up on your calculator if you want to. Again, you don't have to, so if you're not real comfortable using spreadsheets, then you can just punch out all these on your calculator. But what we're going to have here is, first of all, looking at example 1, I have the directions for finding the mean for group data. Now, your frequency will be what you already have or maybe what you find. So to find the number in the frequency column, you just add 7, 9, 19, 14, 14, 6, and 2 up to get 71. Now, do you remember how to find the midpoint of a class interval? Look over here. You have to find and add the two lower levels of two consecutive class intervals. So I take 50 plus 60 divided by 2, and then I would get my 55 over here. So that's how I'm getting my midpoint. And once again, to get the next one, I would take 60 plus 70 divided by 2, and I would get 65. So to find your midpoint of your class interval, which you will have to be finding that column right there, you will take two consecutive class intervals, add together the lower numbers, and then divide by 2. Now to get this last column, you take your frequency times your midpoint of the interval. So I'm just taking right here to get my 385. To get that, I just took 7 times 55. And you can do that on your calculator, 9 times 65. And if you don't have a lot of numbers, it goes rather quickly just to punch them all up. And then you add all that column up to get your 500 or 5,775 for the sum of the frequency times your midpoints. So when I go to find my average of my group data, I'm going to take that sum, and remember sigma means add them all up, that's the sum, of my F times M column and divide it by the number that I had, in this case, N. So looking at specifically the sum of my F times N column would be 5,775 divided by the number of frequencies that I had, which was 71. So throwing this in your calculator all at one time, I would get 81.338. You can double check me on that to make sure I got that right. Now, for those of you who would like to use your calculator maybe to help you not have to type in so many numbers, grab a calculator. If you don't have one yet, pause and everybody get a calculator. But we're going to open a new document. And we're going to add a list and spreadsheet number 4. So I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to call this my frequency. So I'm just going to put F for frequency. And I'm going to fill in my 7 and my 9, 19, 14, 14, 6, and 2. So I just put my frequencies in there. Here, I'm going to do my, I'm going to call this M for midpoints. Again, that's in the very, very top cell. And fill in those 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, and 115. Okay, so I've got those two in there. Remember the next column, I just need to multiply F times M. So I'm going to call this one FM representing f times m, but I'm going to have to give it an equation or give it a command here. So the way we do that is that you hit your equal sign, and your equal sign, let me get rid of that, is over here underneath the blue control button. See that beside trig, you see an equal sign, and notice it says fm semicolon or colon and then equals, and that means now it's ready for an equation. Now I need to multiply basically my column F times my column M. So go over here and hit variables, and notice there's all the variables. So that was that red key that's highlighted right there, and I'm going to just hit enter for F. Then you have to hit times, hit the variable key again, and then hit M. And then when I hit enter, it populates that number for me. So isn't that nifty? If you had a lot of numbers, that would really save a lot of time. Now I have to add up my column FM and my column F, and I'm sure there's multiple ways to do this. I'm just going to hit Control Doc to add a calculator page. And I am thinking, menu, 6 statistics. I'm going to do number 3, list, list math. Because I want to, I'm just kind of guessing here, find the sum of some elements. So what do I want to find the sum of? What was that first column called? Frequency. So I hit variables. So if I want to find the sum of that frequency column, there it is, 71. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to hit menu, and that was under statistics, number 6. And then I did number 3, list math. Then I did the sum of elements, and that was, okay, the last one I needed to find the sum of. I hit variable. See the red key that's highlighted there? And then I hit FM. Feel free to repeat that if you need to. That saves a lot of time. I don't know, maybe not. Just depends on how big your table of numbers is, but that's how you can find the sum of a column there, because since we labeled them, they are actually variables. Okay, so let's close down this calculator here. And let's see where we're at on our notes. Oh, now we're going to go back to the stuff that you remember maybe from 6th or 7th grade. Just basically mean, median, and mode. Median is a set of real numbers arranged in order of magnitude. It's the middle value of the numbers if the items is odd, and it's the mean of the two middle values if the number of items is even. So if there's no true middle, you add the two middle terms and divide by 2 to get the median. The mode is the one that basically occurs the most times. It has to have a frequency exceeding 1. So if every item only occurs once, the mode would not necessarily exist. Okay. Example 2, find the median and mode of the data. So the data is already in numerical order. So let's just kind of see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 items. So that means there's a true middle number. So sometimes I've seen people do this where they're just crossing them out. It really doesn't matter. Whoops, I even messed that one up. Middle number is 5. So my median is actually 5. And which one occurred the most? So let's go back here and see which one of these occurred the most. Looks like 7's occurring a lot there. So my mode is 7. Now on this one, to find the median, let's count up how many items I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is no true middle term. So I'm looking at the 4 and the 5 because that's the 5th and the 6th term. And I would find the median by taking 4 plus 5 divided by 2 to get 4.5. Just a little refresher on that. I know you've had that before. Now for the next one, find the mode of this data. Letter C right here. To find the mode of that, every item is just one time. So there is none. All right, so the frequency has to exceed 1. And then part D, find the mode of this data, I have a 2 occurring twice and a 3 occurring twice. So just kind of reminding you that you can have multiple modes. Here's a mode of 2 and 3, both. Okay, so there it is. Real basic mean, median, and mode. Now this is the part that gets a little complicated, so I really need you to tune in on this one and follow along carefully. Now, this is to find the median for grouped data. Highlight this one. This is a tough one. Highlight it. You might want to put asterisks by it because you really need to pay close attention. So to find the median of group data, I'm going to find the lower limit of the interval containing the median, and then I'm going to add to that P divided by Q times I. Well, what are these variables? Well, P is the number of required terms to reach the median from the lower limit of the interval containing the median. Wow, that's kind of confusing. And Q is the number of data entries in this interval, and I is the size of the interval. Okay, so let's go to the next page and let's see if we can't, I just lost it. Okay, so let's go to the next page and let's find our, I lost my second page. There it is. Okay, so here I have the problem that we're going to find the set of our median of our group data. What is this at the top? It says the median of a set of data is sometimes called the 50th percentile. So that means 50% of the data are less than or equal to it. So when we talk about percentile, we're talking about the amount of data that is less than or equal to that particular number. Okay, that was a nice little fun fact thrown in there. Okay, so here we go, example 3. The following data give the number of births in the United States in the year 2000 by the age of the mother. The numbers of children are given in thousands. All right, so first of all, I have the age of the mother, and I need to find the midpoint of that interval. So remember, to find the midpoint of the interval, I'm going to look at these two things right here, 10 and 15. So I'm going to go over here and say, well, 10 plus 15 divided by 2, I'm going to get 12.5. So really, when it says the midpoint of the interval, you're looking at the, once again, 2 consecutive intervals, the lower numbers, you add them up and divide by 2. So looking at the next one, let me switch to green here. To get the midpoint of 15 through 19, I'm going to take 15 plus 20 and divide it by 2 to get my 17.2. Okay, so that's how I get those midpoints. So following through with the rest of them, this would be, and a lot of times you finally see the pattern and then you just write them down. So I get 22.5 coming up next, and 27.5, 32.5, 37, whoops, find my eraser, 37.5, 42.5, and 47.5. Okay, so then the next thing I need to do is I need to find the sum of my frequencies. This was already given for me, so I'm going to go ahead and just add those up. So I got 4,059. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and fill in my frequency times my midpoint. So I'm going to be taking 12.5 times 9. So multiplying these first two columns together, I get 112.5. Multiplying the first two columns together for the 15 through 19 age group would be 8,207.5. And then I get 22,905 for the next one. 29,920, 29,920 for the next one. 30,192.5. Again, I'm just multiplying the first two columns together. 1,600, 16,950. Wow, got to pay attention here. 3,825. I hope I got these numbers right. And the last one is 190. If I didn't get them right, I'm sure you'll figure that out and let me know. Okay, I need to add together that frequency times the midpoint. And again, I'm just going to save us some time. I already added these together. So I got 112,302.5. So it looks like 112,302.5. So that's the first thing we had to do just to get started here, is just fill in the chart. Okay. So looking at part A, find the mean age of a woman who became a mother in 2000. So basically, to find that mean of the group data, that's what we just did in example 1. I'm going to take the sum of the F times M frequency times midpoint column. So I'd get my 112,302.5 divided by my total number of frequencies, 4,059, and that would be the mean age. So that is 27.668. Okay, now for the tough part. This is where you really have to start paying attention because it's confusing. To find the median age of a woman who became a mother in 2000, find the interval containing the median. Okay, well, first of all, I have to find the median. Well, to find the median, this is a little hint that's going to work every time. I want to take the total number of frequencies plus 1 and divide it by 2. That will be the middle of everything, okay, which is my median. So I'm going to take my 4,059, add 1 to that, and divide by 2. And so that means I'm going to get 4,060 divided by 2, which is my 2,030th term, is my median, right in the middle. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to find, where does that 2,030th entry occur. So I got to go back up to my chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze in here. Let me do it in, gosh, I don't know if I want to do it in green, but we'll do it in green. How about purple? I'm going to squeeze in my cumulative frequency. Do you remember how we did cumulative frequency the other day in class? The first one is just 9. What's 9 plus the next frequency? 9 plus 469 would be 478. So I ask you, is my 200 or 2030th term within the first 478 terms? And the answer is no. So now I'm going to take 478, take this number right here, and add it to the 1018. Okay, so if I take 478, add it to the 1018, I'm going to get 1,496. Think about that. Have we hit our 2030th term yet? And the answer is no. We're only at 14,000 or 1,496, so we're not there yet. So now I'm going to add 1,496 to 1,088. And I get 2,584. Have I met or ran into my 2030th term? And the answer is yes, because this term right here is larger than 2030. So I know it has to be in the interval from 25 to 29. Okay, so the median has to occur within that 25 to 29 range. Now go back and review that if you need to. Okay, go back and review that step. So I'm going to write that down. Find the interval containing the median. That's what I just did. And that is going to be 2030 occurs in the 25 to 29 range. Okay. Step 2 says to find P. Remember, P is the number required to reach the median from the lower limit of the interval. Okay. So if I look at my interval, my 25 through 29, I have to think about this. How far do I need to go into that interval? If I look back before that interval, I was at 1,496. How many do I have to go into the next interval to reach 2030? So one more time. The interval previous to the 25 through 29 right here, the interval previous to the highlighted interval was 2024. And I look at that cumulative frequency, and that was 1,496. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my 2030 and subtract the cumulative frequency from the previous interval. That tells me how many terms or items I need to go into the interval 25 through 29. And that is my p-value. One more time. The p-value is the number required to reach the median from the lower limit of that interval containing the median. So I go back and I find the cumulative frequency leading up to the previous right there. The previous interval was 1,496. I need to go into the next interval to reach my 2030. So I need to subtract my 1496 from my 2030 to see how many terms or items I need to go into that interval of 25 through 29. Okay, that is the confusing part, I admit. Okay, so I need to figure out what is Q. Q, remember, is, looking on the front again, Q is the number of data entries in this interval. So I'm going to write that down. Q is equal to the number of data entries in my interval, which happens to be 1088. I is the size of the interval. The size of the interval is you take two consecutive lower limits and you subtract them. Okay, so 10 to 15, that is 5. So I have to now figure out P divided by Q times I. So I'm going to take 534 divided by my Q, which is 1088, times my 5, and I throw that in my calculator, and I get 2.454. Okay, so here we go, step 4. My median is equal to the lower limit. What was that lower limit? That's that 25. Plus I add to that the P divided by Q times I, which is my 2.454. So my median of the group data is equal to 27.454. Okay. Now I know that was a confusing problem, so if you need to go back and play this through again, feel free to do that. I will also upload this onto YouTube, so just go and search Jan Michener, and hopefully you'll find that on YouTube and you can listen to it again if you need to. Okay. Now, if anybody wants me to review how to find this in your calculator again, you can go back and do the first part. Or how about I just go ahead and do this problem right here that we just did in our calculator again. So if anybody's interested in that, I'll do that. If you're not interested, you can just shut me off. You don't have to listen. And you can go ahead and start working on your homework or whatever you need to get done there. So I'm going to go over to my calculator and I'm going to press the home key and I am going to start a new document. I do not want to save it. Remember, we're going to add a lists and spreadsheet. So in this top A cell, I'm going to put, since my midpoint came first, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to put my M there. And I'm going to type in my 12.5, my 17.5. Now again, if the numbers get really big in your homework, this is when it's helpful. 22.5, 27.5, 32.5, and by the way, this is for an Inspire. I'm sure you figured that out. 37.5. Wish I could type faster. 42.5 and 47.5. Okay, then I go over to the next one. And at the top, I'm going to put F for frequency. These numbers were already given. I had 9 for that one, 469, 1018, 1088, 929, 452, 90, and 4. So to get the next column, go in the title, and we're going to call this F times M. So I'm just going to call it FM. And remember here in the cell where you put your equations, you hit the equal sign over here by the trig button. Equal sign, and then you hit var. And I want to take my M times, and you have to hit the multiplication sign. If you don't hit the multiplication sign, it does not work. And I hit var again and F, and it will populate that cell for you, or that column. Okay, now if I add Control Doc, we'll add a page. I want to add a calculator page. If I want to add those columns, I'm going to hit Menu. 6 is Statistics. Number 3, List Math. Number 5, Sum of Elements. And I'm going to hit var. So there's the sum of my frequencies. I hit F for frequencies. 4059. Yay, I typed everything in correctly. I typed them correctly, I should say. And then Menu, 6, 3, Sum of Elements number 5. This time I hit var and I want F times M. And there's the sum of, okay, I'm not seeing that 0.5. So what do I need to do there? I probably need to change a setting on my computer here. Hopefully on your calculator you got that 0.5 that was thrown in there. Okay, so I probably need to change a setting here on my computer so I can get all my decimals. Okay, so there it is. Good luck. Have fun.